Is Senate Majority Leader, Mr. John Barrasso from the great state of Wyoming. Senator Barrasso, welcome back, sir. It's a great pleasure to see you. So for the umpteenth time, Democrats blocked financing of DHS. So the TSA lines with spring break will grow. The Coast Guard is not going to be funded. FEMA is not going to be funded. I don't get it. This is a sad tale, but it's a stupid tale. What good does this do?
Does no good at all, Larry. And I will tell you, the greatest threat we have here to our homeland today is terrorism. And the Democrats are blocking funding of the Department of Homeland Security. Remember, the Democrats would rather stand with illegal immigrant criminals than they would with the safety and security of the American people. You know, they set up after 9/11, the Department of Homeland Security, a comprehensive program to protect all of us. And that includes the threats we have today from lone wolves, from cyber terrorism, from individual terrorists, even from some of these sleeper cells, all of them. And we have to have that protection because over 10 million illegal immigrants came into our country during the Biden administration. And we know over 1,000 came in from Iran, many of whom by catch and release were released into our country. So, and you saw it, Larry, during the State of the Union. The president said that the #1 duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. But that's what the Democrats don't seem to believe that. None of them stood up to applaud. And today, again, on the floor of the United States Senate, they blocked our efforts to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which includes TSA, it includes cybersecurity, it includes our Coast Guard, it includes FEMA, all across the board. It's a comprehensive program designed to protect our nation, and the Democrats don't seem to want to protect the people who are the citizens of America.
Senator Barrasso, they're against the war. Let's put that right on the table. There may be one or two exceptions, like a Fetterman, but they're against the war. They don't care whether or not we destroy the leading state sponsor of terrorism and nuclear threat, which threatens the United States, which threatens freedom, which, of course, threatens the Middle East and Europe. They don't care. They're going to run against the war, Senator Barrasso. And you know what? It's a big damn mistake when they do, because this war is going brilliantly and will end very soon. That's really at the bottom of this. They don't care. They don't care. And by the way, they'll sneak in phony voting rights. Look, you're going to go to a filibuster or not on the voting rights bill? That's the next question.
Well, let me get back to where you started the show, because you just mentioned the war. You said two things are important. One is not to panic, right, and the second is not to quit when we're halfway there.
Right.
And President Trump is not somebody that panics, and he's not somebody that quits. So when we talk about American peace through strength, that's what the president talks about. Is something that we do going to make us safer, going to make us stronger, going to make us more prosperous. And what's happening right now in Iran, long term, is going to accomplish all three of those goals. I support what the president is doing at conversations through other senators with Marco Rubio today. Things are going actually ahead of schedule. This is a success. We're taking out their missiles, their missile launchers, their missile production capacity, their Navy, making sure they're never able to restart a nuclear weapons program, and we're undermining their efforts on terrorism all across the globe.
He's changing history.
This is
He's
important what we're doing here.
He's changing history. And the sad part of this story is the Democrats are opposed to it. To me, it's inconceivable. You know, I talked about John F. Kennedy at the top regarding some tax issues. Okay, we can leave this for another segment. But Kennedy was a staunch anti-communist. Kennedy knew that Russia was the enemy, okay, and struggled, but I think did well in the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Democratic Party today, they are against this. That's the problem. They're against ending Iran's terrorist state. You know, to me, that's indefensible. Absolutely. Take it to the polls, Senator. Take it to the polls.
Well, I'd go further and say whatever President Trump is for, they are going to be against, whether it's no matter how good it is for the American people, for our economy, for our long-term safety, security, prosperity, for peace through strength. They seem to oppose anything because President Trump is for it. And I think the president is making the right decisions and protecting our nation.
Give me a minute, Senator Barrasso, if you would, John. Give me a minute on the filibuster story and the voting rights story. And the John Cornyn story, I call him the comeback kid. He was on the show last night or the night before. What's the story on the filibuster and the voting rights?
Well, the president has been very consistent on opposing the filibuster. We saw that in the first term when you were in the White House. The votes aren't there to eliminate it. With regard to the Save America Act that I've been working with the president in the Oval Office on just a week or so ago, I'm an original co-sponsor. I support the bill. And when you take a look, it's just common sense. If you want to vote, you ought to be a citizen of the United States. If you want to vote, you ought to be able to prove you are who you say you are with a photo ID at the polls. And yet, the Democrats aren't for those sorts of things. Look, you need a photo ID to buy a beer, to board a plane, any of those things. But Larry, I would go even further. I think that for terms of the census, we shouldn't count people who aren't U.S. citizens.
Yes,
it should only be citizens because that's the way that we determine how many Congress members each state gets. And when you take a look at New York, where you are today, California, those sanctuary states, they get many more members of Congress because all of the people that are there get counted, especially the illegal immigrants. That gives them more seats. They ought to lose all of them. We're going to move on the floor of the Senate to the SAVE Act. Next week, we're going to have the votes, and we're going to work on making sure we can try to get that passed for the future of the country.
10 seconds, Senator Barrasso. I'm having so much fun. I don't want to let you go. I love talking to you. You know that. We've been doing this for many decades. Just real quick. Can you push John Cornyn over the finish line in Texas and sweep the state?
John Cornyn won the primary, but not a majority, so there has to be a runoff. He is the solid, strong conservative for Texas who will win the election in November, and we need John Cornyn in the United States Senate. We need a Republican majority to continue to get all of the president's judges confirmed, and if there's a Supreme Court opening, we need to make sure we have a Republican Senate to confirm the president's choices. John Cornyn's the right person for the job.
Yes, sir. Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso from the great state of Wyoming. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it very much. Talk soon.